Hello and welcome to the Knock On KCLR and Scoreline.ie's weekly rugby podcast. We have a full house this evening. We've no more room on the screen. We can't get anyone else in, but we've got the three local rugby clubs, members of all three, Carlow, Kilkenny and Tullow tonight, to have a chat all things rugby and what's going on. We're in a bit of a quiet time at the moment, I suppose, in terms of internationals, provincial, all that stuff. The clubs got their pre-seasons sort of off to a start last weekend. We'll talk about that in a minute, but there's plenty of other stuff going on as well. Johnny Tobin is to my left from Tullow Rugby Club, of course. He's here every week with Chris Pym, chatting all things rugby and, of course, keeping an eye on the lines last time we were talking to James Blanchfield from Kilkenny Rugby Club as well. James, how's things?
Good, thanks, Stephen, and good to be on with me two compatriots from across the border.
Oh, we're looking forward to plenty of crack across the next couple of months anyway, when the season really gets into full swing. And the Carlow Rugby Club president, Tom Crotty, is with us as well. How are you, Tom?
Not too bad, Stephen. Thanks a million. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. And congratulations on your recent appointment as well. Fair play.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a good season.
Yeah, absolutely. So, lads, We'll go around in circles. Plenty of stuff going on, but we're in pre-season, of course. That's where it's at. Johnny, what's the crack down in Tullow at the moment with lads? Just run the guts out of them at the moment, I presume.
Maurice Lowe wouldn't be a man for running the guts out of lads now, to be fair. No, it's been good. It's been a slow start, I suppose, like every other club. We've got GAAs. They got their last year season finished, and now they're starting this season. So we're in a bit of a huddle at the minute with that, but look, lads are getting back to training, numbers are improving. I think the Colm O'Shea Cup maybe was a month too early for us anyway. I don't know about the other two lads, but definitely for us. But no, it's good. Numbers are improving at training, energy is good and attitude is good. So all things positive at the minute, thank God.
Absolutely. What about you, James? How's things down in Kilkenny?
Yeah, things are going well. In fairness now, kind of is like that, like Johnny said, it was a slow start, but GA is not really having a major impact on us as of yet. Probably will in the next few weeks, but numbers are really good at training. Dave O'Connor, Stevie Ashmore, and the crew there. We nearly have more coaches than JJ Kavanagh now at the moment. But it's great. There's good numbers there. Still lads to come back. So Liam Caddy was away in the States last week playing international sevens with Barbados, and Wes Carter's building a new house at the moment. Gary Dunn hasn't been back, so there's a lot to do. So there's still a huge amount of first team regulars to come back. But by and large, things are looking good. Lost a couple of players, but that's to be expected every year,
Yeah, of course, absolutely. The GA side of stuff as well takes up a lot. The Carlow Hurling Championship is being run off at the moment, Johnny, but the football is after that, so that'll run right into October and everything, which will have a knock-on effect there as well. And as James was saying, the Kilkenny leagues will kick off now in the next couple of weeks and straight on into October and November. Tom, how's things going in Carlow for you at the moment?
Not too bad. Lads are back training. Their numbers are a bit lower than other years, but I think that's because of COVID, and we are affected a bit by GA. We have a lot of younger players, and a few of the lads still playing GA at the moment, so they're out in their club coming into their club championship, so we're going to struggle a little bit with them, but at least they're back training. Coaches are on board, and we just finished our summer camp, which was brilliant. We had over 100 kids at it, and the youths are starting back training next week, so all on a roll.
The Colm O'Shea Cup, lads, was introduced a couple of weeks ago. It was unveiled anyway as a pre-season cup. Johnny, Tullow played C point in that, but as you were saying, just a couple of weeks too early, maybe for the lads. Yeah,
I wouldn't look at. I would have liked it in a couple of weeks' time, but I wouldn't change anything about it either. It was a good learning curve for the lads. There was 31 minutes played before any score. I don't know whether that's a really bad attack or really good defence, but we go with the really good defence side of things and the AstroTurf as well. But no, it was good. It was 26-14. It finished. That team that went out on Saturday for us had never played together. Any of them, there was a complete mixed bag of lads there. Some youth, some well-experienced fellas too. Louis Kilkine, a few of the other lads, they're still hanging on. But it was good, and it's good to get a blowout. So look at it, blows off a bit of cobwebs, gets lads back to it. There hasn't been a game in 15, 16 months. So we have a couple of friendlies lined up before our first round of the league. So it's good, and it's great that we're able to go watch a rugby match again. and stand on the sidelines and shout and roar and chat to our GS.
I don't doubt you, Johnny. I don't doubt you when it comes to shouting and roaring anyway.
You'll be right beside me, Blanche.
James, you were up against Monkstown. You came away with a loss there as well, but it's probably the same boat as Johnny, really.
We were. Look, we were missing a good few numbers, and like Tullow, it was a mixed bag of fellas being in. You know, there was some first team regulars, some lads who were under 18 last year, some lads who were second, some lads who were thirds. You know, so I suppose again, like that, the main objective was just to get bodies back out in the field and get people in competitive rugby. You know, that was important. It was 6-6 all at half time, played in absolutely atrocious conditions. I mean, the rain was coming in sideways for 85 minutes. It was pure drudgery. I wasn't there, but all reports were saying it was just horrible conditions. Hard to play rugby. But look, we got the rust knocked off. We got a few rusty edges knocked off. So, you know, going forward now, it'd be great if the Southeast could be played. That's one of the big things. Like there's no mention of the Southeast this year, which is disappointing because, you know, it's a tournament that probably hasn't been prioritised in previous years, and it's something that needs to get back. You know, when you look at the Hosey Cup, like that's a big achievement for clubs to win up in the Midlands, and you know, we're probably trying to get the Southeast back on that level. So from that perspective, it's disappointing that that's not been played this year. But like back to Monkstown last Saturday, there was a lot of young fellas blooded. 2 under-18s made their bow with the lads, and a lot of players to come back in. So, you know, hopefully come league time there will be a few challenge matches, and there might be a couple of training camps and stuff like that planned. But hopefully come league time then that the rust is fully knocked off and you're ready to get going and kind of pick up where we left off last year, because we had the ideal start to the league last year, beating Ashbourne at home in an absolute unbelievable, one of the best games of rugby I've ever seen at Foolstown last year. And disappointing then that the pin was pulled on the season. So we just hope we can bring that momentum back into the start of the Leinster League soon enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom, you were penciled in for a match in the Colm O'Shea, but it never came to pass. What happened there?
Well, I'd say, like Johnny said, it is a bit early to be going up the motorway to Ashbourne. We had just a lot of cry-offs between injuries, and I say with the GAA, but just missing people in key positions. So it wasn't a place for us to go. I think if it had been the Southeast and local, probably we would have had a team. We wouldn't have cared. You would have put a team out, you know, whether it was Tullow or Kilkenny. I think it is. I think there are fixtures coming up with the Southeast. It has to be drawn yet, but it should have been, like, my opinion would it should have been the Southeast first.
Yeah.
And get teams out locally, because you don't mind banging heads across the border, and the lads know each other, and if you lose or whatever, it's experience, it's getting lads on the pitch. But to try and drag them to Dublin at this stage of the year, not a place to go. You know, if we had been home, we could have dragged the team out. But to drag them to Dublin, not a hope, you know. It's just pity, but hopefully now we'll get a few games, trying to get a few friendlies and stuff before it starts.
And is the Colm O'Shea now, is that going to be set in stone for those dates every year, lads, do you know, or is it, you know, are they going to try and work the Southeast in there somewhere, or is there any clarification on any of that stuff?
No, I don't think there's any clarification. I don't know whether, I don't think a lot of clubs will go for it. I hope not, that they will just allow your local leagues become more important again, and get that over and done with before we hit the Leinster League.
Yeah, absolutely. Leinster League is coming up in a couple of weeks, lads, and plenty of training and pre-season and that, of course, to be done in before any of that sort of stuff. But generally, as you were saying, Johnny, Tullow be good enough shape going into that as well, and especially with a couple of rounds into it, you'll get the GAA lads back and all that, and you should have a better look at what's happening anyway.
Yeah, you'd imagine so. We're unfortunate at the minute. We've a lot of lads with a lot of personal things going on too. Like our last year's captain, Aho, he's retired, unfortunately, from playing the game. Well, he's earned his retirement. He's been brilliant for us since he came over. Fantastic person, fantastic clubman, and an excellent rugby player. But we also have lads like Kyle Hambidge, their young family starting out. Frank Murphy the same. William Canavan moving down to Cork. Willie Cass after starting a young family there as well, building a house. So we're in a transition period, I suppose, at the minute, trying to blood in a couple of young lads as well as keep on the experience heads. But definitely come Mullingar game on the 19th September we'll be we should be right by then.
Even off the pitch, Johnny, Willie Canavan's going to be a loss to Tullow, though.
A massive loss.
You know Willie since we're young fellas now, and you know he's died in the wool. Like he's going to be a huge loss to rugby, even in the southeast.
Yeah, no, he's a great guy. Great friend of mine personally as well. He was meant to take over the 18 girls southeast team this year. I've actually stepped into that role myself. He's always a lad you can pick up on the phone, just have a chat with him. I was in texting him about an hour ago, sending me pictures of his new school. He's down in Bandon Grammar School, so hopefully that goes well for Will. No doubt he'll be successful anywhere he goes. Munster's gain, definitely.
Yeah.
I agree with that one anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. James, I spoke to you a couple of weeks ago about, you know, you were getting into a good place last year before COVID. The team, everything was sort of coming together right. You know, you had Doc back involved and everything like that from a coaching point of view, and then bang, it's all gone.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see stuff going at the moment by the time you hit Leinster League?
Yeah, look, I think it'd be well. There's a couple of problematic positions. I think every club has the same issue when it comes to tight head. Any tight head worth his salt is getting offers from senior clubs. You know, we've lost our tight head of the last 10 years through no fault of anybody other than the fact that he's relocating. Well, he has relocated up to live in up out the Cooley Peninsula. He's got married up there. Simon O'Shea came through the youth system with us. Leinster, he played Leinster juniors, Leinster youths, all that jazz. But he actually played with us last season and the season before while he was living up in the Cooley Peninsula. It's just become too much for him. So I think he's transferring either to Dundalk or something like that. But he's probably good enough to go and play AIL with Ballynahinch. Other guys probably have to lose in the second row, but we're getting somebody in there. We're after gaining a hooker. We're after losing a couple of backs. So do you know what? These things swings and roundabouts. You know, you lose one, you get one. You lose one, you get one. So you know we're probably in a reasonably good position. But tight head is the place where we're most concerned at the moment. Like Doc, Steve, Ray Pembroke, you know, the coaching team, John Buckley, Eamon Dooley. They're like, you know, there's a lot of enthusiasm there for the season ahead. We genuinely felt last year was a year where we had a big opportunity in the league. Just, you know, the hope is that we could pick that traction and that culture up, and that, you know, there's a really strong culture, really strong buzz amongst that senior rugby group in Kilkenny at the moment. And Tom, he had Stevie up in Carlow for 2 or 3 years. You can see everywhere Steve goes, he brings a buzz with him. People buy into what he's about and what he's doing. We're very lucky to have him back. You know, he's settled in Kilkenny. He's getting married to a local girl here. You know, he's probably now Kilkenny is his club, hopefully forever. And, you know, we're very lucky to have him. And he brings a lot of knowledge, but how he squeezes what he does into the few hours a day that he has surplus outside of work to commit to rugby or doing stats or doing something, it's great. So look, it's not this year. It'll be, from what I'm trying to get to, is from the coaching ticket. There will be no stone unturned from the coaches, from the club, from Director Rugby Jermac, to give the first and seconds every opportunity to succeed this year. How you measure success this year is probably up in the air. Last year we would have measured success by bringing a trophy of some description back. You know, it's still hard to gauge so far, but fingers crossed that there will be some silverware coming back this year. But it's not all about silverware either. It's about building for the future as well, and looking down through the club at the youth systems as well and what's going on there.
That's it. And Tom, how's things in Carlow? You're at the man at the helm now as well, so you've a big job ahead of you, particularly coming in after a COVID year.
Yeah, it's a really kind of strange year, and trying to get like this time last year we would have had was 45, I think, training. You know, or before COVID hit, we had like 45 in the summer in the pre-season. We were looking to field 3 teams, whereas at the moment, you know, you were just trying to get your first team out and trying to get the lads back training. Like if Corey Carty's still coaching, we have Jeff. We got good news. We have Jeff Carter back in as forward coach just once a week. Huh?
The boss man.
The boss man. Yeah, the boss man is back. I know. Look, Jeff is a super character. We had him for the year that COVID came in, and we were delighted with him. You know, and the lads were delighted because they were learning so much. He's super knowledge of scrummaging and lineouts and line-out play. But he's back in once a week, so I have to thank Derek Cole for that. A lot of persuading with him to get him back over the border. we've lost a few players, the same as every club. Gained a few, but I just feel there's an awful drain at the moment from youths leaving at 18, heading to Dublin. On my view, the personal view, I think professional rugby has destroyed our club game a little bit because we're so concentrating, such a concentration on the pathway. But it's a pathway to playing for Leinster, which only so many people are going to get that pathway, and we're sort of forgetting about the little clubs down the country here who have to survive week in, week out, and we're not getting the players through, and it's hard enough as it is. You're up against every sort of sport now. You've lads just want to go to the gym 3 or 4 times a week and look good. You have lads doing cycling, triathlons. There's so much different sport that wasn't there a couple of years ago really being pushed. So, you have to fight your own corner. I just think at the moment, all the clubs need to start looking at how we can, as a group of people, retain players that hit 18 and suddenly are gone to the Clontarfs, the Lansdowns and these. It's
a tricky one, Tom, because you'd kind of wish them well, but you'd wish the young lads well, but it struggles for you. Like, we've 2 young lads gone to Clontarf there this year. Connor Duffy and Jack Hanlon, they were Leinster 18s the year before COVID. Connor was actually the captain and Jack was top try scorer. You'd love to see them getting successful, but at the same time, you'd love to see them wearing your own club jersey,
Yeah, their heads are being turned, recently, we had a young fella, and look at Johnny, you and I, when we were coaching against each other, he was on that team on our side, and he's an absolute fantastic rugby player, but question was put to him recently, will you come to us? And he goes, I can't really, I'm getting too much money where I am, and it's taken away from junior rugby and what is the grassroots of the game, really, isn't it?
Well, we can't compete with a scholarship. You have Maynooth who are able to give it, you get scholarships, a certain amount of money, you get your gym membership, you're getting accommodation, which is massive for kids.
That's the big turn.
It's a huge turner, and if you were in Dublin and somebody says, "Well, you can we have a room and house for you," like that's a saving anywhere between 5,000 and 7,000 or 9,000 euro.
Yeah,
so you can't spend. How do you compete?
Absolutely. That's the problem. We don't. You see, this is the problem.
Well, my own young fella's he's going to college somewhere, and he's going to play. All he wants to do is play 20s.
Yeah. We've full front row in Lansdowne.
He's gone.
Yeah, you do actually.
We've full front row in Lansdowne, yeah.
Yeah, but sure, young Mahal was playing he was playing with the IT and getting driving up and down to Dublin.
Yeah. We've Conan Dunn there and Tristram Dyer.
Yeah.
I actually met Conan there today. Actually, his younger brother was on the South East team there today.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. It's hard, but what do? You just have to work with the resources you have.
And
it's difficult. Yeah. It's difficult. Like, me and Johnny know each other from coaching, and for me, the objective always was get these young fellas through to play senior rugby with your club, like with Kilkenny, and that was what I always harped on to them. But it is heartbreaking then when you see them walking away as well. And some of the best players that I coached at underage level aren't playing anymore. There's something systemically wrong there that they're stepping away from the game as well.
Yeah, it's mad. I was actually looking at it the other day, James. The team I coached against you that time, there's actually only 2 guys off my 29-person squad playing for Tullow, playing rugby. Actually, even better one.
I think we off that team we have Jack Walsh, Michael Shaughnessy, Robert Boyd, Ty Butler. I think 5, if not 6 of them actually have gone through to play adult rugby, which doesn't sound like many, but it's a good return.
Yeah, we had 2. So
we were the same.
But some of those guys are playing adult senior rugby in Dublin now, Johnny, aren't they?
Ours no, 2 still playing off that team.
Right. Sorry, Tom, I spoke over you there.
No, we we coached the team through the one. Did the treble, the one Leinster, one South East, and won the cup at 18s. And of that team, I think there is 5. There's about 5 actually playing rugby. That's a panel of over the 2 years that they won so many things that there could have been a panel of maybe 30, 35, and I'd say if there's not even 10 playing rugby, and I'd say half of them aren't even playing sport.
Yeah. Well, James, I think what you're thinking of, James, is the second year team of that one. So that would be the Dara Murphy, Killian Redmond. They're Their
That's
Lansdowne.
the one. Yeah.
That'll be the second year team of that. But the first year team that we played would have been there's like 2 of them playing. Killian's actually gone over to London Irish at the moment for a trial over there. Dara and Killian are up in Lansdowne. Huh?
Who started that trial for?
Some fella they call the tank or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Some farmer from the Cox, is it?
It wouldn't be a stone throw from it anyway.
Jeez, he's even poaching from Tullow. That's terrible.
Killian hasn't played Tullow now in a few years, but yeah. I actually got to text him that as well now. Stop poaching.
Oh yeah, stop poaching from Tullow.
Wow. So there's a couple of issues there then, lads. Lads not continuing on playing rugby. The good lads being, pointing their cars towards Dublin and and leave it.
One of the biggest issues that we have, Stephen, is I think Kilkenny is one of the only counties in Ireland where there's no schools rugby being played. Kilkenny College are there, but like they're a senior cup team, they're not feeding into the club. Like Tullow Community College, the schools in Carlow are all playing schools rugby. We are absolutely going up dark alleys and coming up against dark arts in Kilkenny when it comes to scoring rugby in schools. It's crazy,
Yeah.
I'm sure Kieran's would love to have a team. Well, Kieran's not love to have a team. Well, Kieran's not love to have a team.
They would, absolutely adore.
They could play with a hurl, maybe.
Well, that's the thing. When I was in Kieran's, I was hurling, but I was playing rugby as well. We had a sponsor. We had everything ready to go, and we had a teacher ready to commit to it, and it was kind of not. Just a little bit of a kickback, and it's crazy. The CBS had a team there about 15 years ago. It's hard. If you look at most of the clubs that are really, really competing, they are bigger towns. But look at Gorey, for instance. They have a massive community school where there's rugby in it. Wexford are doing well. Carlow doing well. We're probably underage. We're not competing with the Tullows and Carlows at the moment.
Yeah, that'd be fair. Yeah,
you're getting coaching in school. You're getting coaching in the club. You're getting more. You're getting
more game time
hours. More game time, more contact hours.
And we still can't get into Knockbeg though.
Even after Tom Daly.
Begging. We've gone in hands and knees in there. Just not. No.
You'll never change that, Tom. You'll never change that.
No.
I'll be embarrassed.
James, are there closet rugby players in Kilkenny is there an appetite for it there, or it's just that it's been shot down on all corners? As you say, the dark arts are at play.
Yeah, there's definite appetite for it. There's absolutely 100% appetite for it. If you give a young fella or a young girl an opportunity, they'll take it. Girls rugby in Kilkenny has exploded, and the reason it has exploded is because it's in the Loreto Secondary School. They're all playing it. They're all mad to play it, and they're getting rugby every day, every other day in the school. They're coming out to the club. Our under 18 girls, I think there's about 25 of them, and I think up to 25 and about 17 or 18 of them in the Loreto. 2 years ago, none of them ever picked up a rugby ball.
That's
and here we are now. So. And even, it's like everything. If you give a young fella an opportunity, a young girl an opportunity to try it, you never know. There's a hidden gem there somewhere.
Absolutely.
Then it's about finding the balance between playing hurling, playing rugby, playing soccer, whatever it is. Like, Jesus, when I was 18 years of age, I remember playing a hurling match on a Friday night, playing an under 18 rugby match on Saturday, an under 20s rugby match on Saturday evening, and a soccer match with Thomastown on Sunday morning. And somehow I balanced it.
I would love to see you play soccer.
I was goalkeeper.
You're goalkeeper. Yeah.
But the point being is, now, when 15, 20 years ago, it was fine for us all to play 4 games in a weekend and train all the hours under the sun. We were young, energetic, young fellas. But now, no, you can't play another sport if you're playing playing hurling with us, or playing soccer with us, or playing rugby with us,
and that's become really, really big thing in the last couple of years, because you hear all the stories coming back. We get it in the radio station as well. There's an issue in such and such a club. They won't let anyone play soccer, and if you play soccer, you're not playing GAA and don't come train and all this stuff as well. It's sad as well in a way, because you're trying to encourage people just to get off their backsides and just do something. But then you get on to a young lad and he comes training there, says, I hear you're playing for such and such a club, and says, well, you may pick one or the other. You can't be doing that.
Some of the best rugby players I played are incredible hurlers.
Oh,
No, Johnny, remember Adrian Mullen, Kilkenny captain this year? He was a brilliant centre with us on the pitch. He was unbelievable. He would have, I would actually safely say, if Adrian Mullen wasn't hurling for Kilkenny now, he'd probably be playing under 20s rugby for Leinster, if not Ireland.
If he committed to any sport, he'd play top level. Really good player. Really good player.
We had John and Connor Phelan, Kilkenny. Connor's a Kilkenny selector now. He was a brilliant rugby player. His brother Connor, or John, brilliant rugby player. I think it's very easy to balance them all, lads. Just, we're very smart in rugby, and it's one thing to hand to the IRFU and Leinster Rugby is you have a defined start to your season and a defined finish.
Only sport in the country with that.
The season, sports can be balanced.
Tell you, a lot of people could learn from that as well, and it drives us cracked here in the radio station because we try and organise live fixtures and coverage and all that stuff, and you're waiting until Wednesday, Thursday for stuff to be fixed. You're like, oh no, we're changing the venue and we're moving it back an hour, and you're like,
the referee has to wash his socks, so we have to go an hour later.
Whereas the rugby, like you said, I'm
done giving out now, lads. I'm finished giving out now. That's my giving out done for the day.
You feel better now.
25 minutes of giving out and he's finished.
There's a bit of therapy in it as well. So go ahead, Tom. You're going to say something there.
No, it just reiterate what James said. Like it's the seasons have to be sorted somewhere between sports. Before we started, when you started back playing training for rugby, you waited. You had a couple of lads finished out their county championship. You knew you'd have them back before, by October. Then you played the whole way through, and at the end they waited for the lads to finish, and then they went off. But it's dragged out. Like the Carlow Under-20 Club Championship's going to be I think it's November this year.
Yeah,
like that's
just fixed in the middle of November, isn't it?
That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, the hurling is there at the moment.
That's hitting so many sports across. Like why? I think that's why kids will give up. If you tell kids, like we had up at the summer camp, you're chatting to parents there, and some of them never played rugby. They're just up there running around. They're 5-year-olds playing tag or whatever. And we're saying, go play all sorts of sports. We're telling them, like, get in as many sports as you can. Like,
everything,
enjoy it. And so don't let anyone ever tell you you have to play one or the other. Like, just play the bloody sport. It's a terrible pity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's our fault. We're adults, Children only do what they're told.
How many hidden gems are out there that haven't been tapped upon? That aren't playing rugby, that might not even be playing hurling or soccer. They're just not getting exposure to the game. You could have some incredible players out there if they just get that opportunity to have a little bit of exposure and try it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like Mick O'Neill. Tom, you probably remember Mick O'Neill for Kilkenny. He ended up playing for Leinster, but Mick never played rugby in his life until he was 18.
Yeah,
and he went on. I can't remember who brought him out to rugby from Kilkenny. Within a year, he was gone to Blackrock up at Leinster. What could have happened if Mick had gotten rugby earlier in his life?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there's plenty to talk about with that, and that debate will rumble on, no doubt, for a lot longer.
Anyway, let me tell you.
Yeah, I've heard the same from they were looking at this change in the junior soccer seasons as well, and playing it during the summer and all this. To try and avoid what you're talking about as well, to try and keep seasons separate because their players get rated by the GAA clubs as well and all that too.
Yeah, I think soccer doesn't really affect rugby. Maybe I could be mad out here, but if any lad plays soccer at 16, 17, he's really committed to soccer. He's not committed to rugby. I think it's the overlap of the GAA, but it definitely punishes us more. We don't have anybody that plays soccer and rugby. We have lads that play rugby and hurling, rugby or football. We don't. Soccer doesn't affect us as such, especially in Tullow anyway. But it's just the GAA. It's like what James said about this defined date. Like, when did it start? When did it finish? It's whenever they feel like it, and that's the big issue. Like, so we only get a short period of time to play rugby. So we'd love to have all our players participating for the major part, like November, December, January, February are the 5 major months in the rugby season, because it's defined what league you're going into. It's your league campaign, and then it's your first round of the cup. If you're only getting lads back at the end of November, December, and
tough going,
it's hard to balance it. So,
Johnny,
just like qualified, and I'm a serious GAA and hurling man as well. Like, it's not, this isn't anti GAA.
No, it's not. No, absolutely not. No. It's just that's where, like I was just saying, like soccer doesn't really affect us. So, like what I said to one of the lads the other day, soccer can play in the summer, they can play in the winter, they can play in the spring. It wouldn't bother us. Like, it wouldn't affect the club. Like, it's the GAA that would be, the rugby and GAA just clash. You know,
That's it.
I have 3 kids play both. They play the 3 of them play GAA, 3 of them play rugby, and like you have to make a decision as far as they want to. At times, they're forced to make decisions because they'd love to just go play their junior football or intermediate football or senior football, whatever it is, and then go back and play the rugby when it's finished. And it's gas after talking to a few of the coaches on sidelines over the year, GAA coaches. They said they love the rugby lads coming back. They love rugby lads coming in because they bring something different. They bring a physicality and they bring something, and they bring on players that have a different vision than some of the guys who are not playing other sport over the winter.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think if only us the adults could communicate maybe a little bit better.
Yeah, now you have it, Danny.
Just talk to each other and just say, listen, can we have them in April to the end of the season? You can have them in September, October.
Yeah.
You don't put pressure on the kid because you're going to crumble them. You're going, like I had a parent today at the Southeast game that's come up and said, Johnny, what are we going to do when the Southeast moves to Monday nights? He's GA on Monday nights. And I said, whatever decision he makes, like, I'm not telling him where to go. You know, play whatever he wants, whatever he decides, like, you know.
We had that with Tim Corkery, you know.
Yeah.
Tim, he had a big choice to make, to be a county minor or to be a Leinster youth.
Yeah.
He went away on himself and made that decision. And that's not an easy decision to make in Kilkenny, like.
Yeah. What I would say on that is I don't tell anyone what to do, but what I do say is you can play football in 2 years' time. You get maybe a 3-year period to make it as a professional rugby player. So do you give that the opportunity, or it's your own choice then? Like, you know, you make your own preference. Like, you know, once that door shuts, it's very, very hard to open it back up again.
It's true.
So, absolutely. And Johnny, just you were involved with the Southeast teams and all that as well. We were talking about it before we started recording. Tullow, Carlow, Kilkenny, well populated in the Southeast team that were playing the Midlands today.
Yeah, there was 14 lads out of the 23 squad were Tullow, Carlow, Kilkenny. Kilkenny or Carlow leading the charge there today with 6, and Tullow and Kilkenny had 4. All lads added something. All lads played very, very well. Some names just stood out to me there. Killian Moore stood out to me there. Donald Keeley, Sean Roberts, and Fionn Hickey and Peter Burgess then from Tullow really stood up as well. It was good to see. Really, really good performance from the lads. They had to work hard. The Midlands were very, very physical. If you walked in there, didn't know the score, you would have thought, but just looking at the game, that Midlands were annihilating the Southeast, but it was actually in turn the other way around. So when we got to use our little brains and figure out we can't go through them, so we'll go over them or around them, things started to fall into place. But it was good. It was good hit out for the lads. That's 2 wins out of 2 now in the Shane Horgan Cup, and then next week then the Northeast they play then in the last round. So it should be good now.
Yeah, that's great.
Sounds to me like he played rugby as it should be played.
Yeah.
He ran around with lads and didn't try to go over.
I was looking at 30 minutes of lads just running that brick wall, saying to myself, when are they going to figure out stop running at them? Like,
this ain't working, boys.
Work smarter, not harder, isn't that, James?
That's what I was to say. Plan A doesn't work. Try Plan A harder.
Yeah. That's the Springboks way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's it. Yeah, it must be delighted, Tom, to have a good representation from Carlow in there as well.
Yeah, thrilled. Absolutely thrilled. And the lads have been working hard. They've been working hard over the last couple of years, and you can see the ones that are kind of starting to really shine. Killian is a superb player, absolutely superb player, and young Broderick's another but there's so many good kids to watch. Like, I would have loved to be up there. I hope to get down maybe and see some of the game tomorrow on the IT. The under 19s are playing tomorrow.
16s,
or 16s tomorrow. Yeah. Sorry. But I would have loved to have seen. I would have loved to be up there today for the matches. As we used to go up to a good few of them, and you got to see a lot of open rugby and lads just having a go. You know, which is the way which sport should be.
Absolutely, fired the ball around without a care, as they say. James, you had a couple of Kilkenny lads on that team as well, all looking well.
Yeah, we had the 4. We had Donald Keeley, Sean Roberts, then 2 lads on the bench, Sean Dunn and James Hughes. For us, actually, the really big thing was to see James Hughes getting back. James has been out with a bad injury for a long time, so it was great to see him get back, get selected, you know. So, again, like every club, you know, it's testament to the people involved and the people who helped them. And there's 4 guys there in the squad, but there's another maybe 25 lads at Kilkenny who would love to be there as well, who are pushing these guys to get in the squad, and pushing, and their coaches are helping them be there, and their parents or guardians or helpers are helping them be there as well. So, look, for us, we're absolutely thrilled to see these guys getting through. We don't think we had anybody in around it for the last couple of years, and it's progress, So now the next objective for us is primarily to get them through to adult rugby with the club, and back to what we were saying earlier in the conversation, keeping them in the club.
Yeah, that's the next step, of course, and that's another challenge in itself. Johnny, it's all about the underage Leinster sides and that at the moment. You're flat out with all that stuff. I hope you're keeping sunscreen on your face, because the last time I was talking to you, you were fairly crisp.
Just rephrase that.
And Stephen, he's flat out.
I'm not flat out. I'm not flat out.
He's turning up. He's just doing up.
I'm going bald, Stephen, but that's natural. It's not from stress. No, yeah, look, it is. It's enjoyable. And for me, especially this year, I kind of took a bit of a gamble, and maybe 2 years ago and went into the coaching a bit more serious than what I had been doing. And it's been brilliant, and I'm learning off some really, really good coaches at the minute. But the Leinster setups are just fantastic at the minute. Like, we've one lad there with the Leinster 18s, Adam Day. James Whelan got sent home for some stuff to work on, but blew out his knee in the training as well, so he was unlucky there. But yeah, they're busy. It's great to see so many young lads from the southeast up representing the club there and whatever. But it's been an enjoyable summer. It's coming to an end now. I've kind of a week or 2 left of it, and then I'm back to reality then.
In the southeast, though, Johnny, we seem to be getting great return. Better return than the other areas. Like,
yeah, I think Ben Armstrong and Corey and Decky O'Brien have a lot to say in that. To be fair, I'm not going to blow smoke up them or anything, but they've been very, very good. And Ben Armstrong is going to be a massive loss to the southeast for Leinster when he flies home to Australia.
Well, he's leaving.
As soon as he gets a flight, he's waiting on a flight at the moment. As soon as he gets it himself, the wife and the kids are moving back to Australia. He'll be a massive loss to the system in the southeast, especially. He's been very, very good for them. He's very good to work with. He's very good to learn off. Corey Carty's another good guy there as well. He's with G and Carlow, Tom, but he's also one of the main guys in the southeast. And sure, then I'm not going to praise Decky O'Brien because I'm just not going to do it. But Decky is Decky. Anyone that knows him knows he knows his stuff.
And he's in it for the right reasons.
Much more about him. He's picked some fantastic rugby players over the last 13 or 14 years, however long he's doing this job. So it's good. It's a great system. We're getting a very good return, and it's a long way to continue.
Absolutely. Lads, we're probably going to have to wrap it up there. Thanks a million for joining us this evening. Johnny Tobin, representing Tullow Rugby Club, James Blanchfield from Kilkenny, and the president, or the new president of Carlow Rugby Club, Tom Crotty. Lads, we'll do it all again next week. Go away and do a bit of study and come back to me. We'll try and find something to talk about next week. We're a bit thin on the ground at rugby at the moment. We're out of the Column O'Shea, so there's plenty of other bits and pieces happening, I suppose, and coming up as well. And of course, Leinster and all that stuff will be happening over the next weeks and months as well. But in the process of getting ready for the Leinster League at the moment, anyway, and giving lads an old run out. Thanks a million, fellas.
No
worries. Cheers, Steve.
Been a pleasure.
Thanks, Johnny. Thanks, James.
See you.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, James.
Best of luck for the season in your role. And
thanks a million. Sure, we'll
you want to get yourself a personal phone and give no one your number now, Tom, as well.
That's a personal secretary. The secretary I want.
Get some Tom time.
That's it.
Michael Carberry's a good show for that job, Tom, I think.
Oh, thanks.
Well, speaking of